girls just randomly throughout the night were asking me where my outfits were from. And so my friends were like, this is your thing. Everywhere you go, every girl that is curvy or plus size, they always want to know where you're getting your clothes from. This is your thing. And this
are tuned in to the Money Script Podcast. Today we will share strategies to help you grow your financial literacy and improve your money script. I'll be back with some important announcements. Until then, enjoy the show.
Welcome to the Money Script Podcast, or welcome back, or welcome if it's your first time. It's your host, Johannes Harrison. So excited to be with each and every one of you today. Thank you for tuning in, whether you're tuning in on Spotify, whether you're watching us on YouTube, or what is the other one? Apple Podcasts, Amazon, Stitch, wherever, however you found us. We're happy that you found us. Glad that you're here. We are here to bring you new ideas and stories from people from all different walks of life to help you better develop your own money script. What is a money script? A money script is just how you think about money. It's the relationship you have with money. For many of us, our money scripts were created at a very young age, and sometimes we carry some of those scripts with us. Some of those scripts are bad. They're things like, money doesn't grow on trees. Tell that to the farmer. If you're an apple farmer, your money does grow on trees. Well, it's the apples that grow on the trees, but you turn it into money. Or money is the root of all evil. I've never been evilized by money. Now, can evil people do evil things with money? All the time, but money itself is just a tool. It's how you use it. So we want to give you a little dose of financial literacy. Today, I am joined by my good friend. By the way, I just have to say before I get into this, usually these podcasts are like 30 minutes or so. We've just been chatting it up for like 30 minutes already. I probably should have hit the record button, but some of that stuff doesn't need to be heard outside of the conversation we had.
it's not for everyone's ears.
It's not for everyone, not for everyone. But I am so happy, Colette, that you could join us. Thank you for gracing us with your presence. We're going to talk about her journey with in the entertainment industry. She's out in sunny LA. We're also going to talk about her journey as an entrepreneur. Before we get into that, want to give you your financial topic for today. And last week, I spoke about an insurance policy. The insurance we talked about was disability insurance. Another type of policy that goes hand in hand with disability insurance is life insurance. What is life insurance? It is a contract that you make with an insurance company that says that when you die, someone's going to get a benefit. And I can't tell you how frustrated I am every time I go onto any of the social medias, or sometimes I'm just driving my car around the city, my truck rather. I don't really drive cars, but drive my truck around the city. I see people trying to raise money to help take care of someone that passed away prematurely. That is not a life insurance policy. It's not. Okay. And a lot of times we can get good amounts of life insurance or great amounts of life insurance for not a lot of money. We just need to know where to go look for it and get it. So especially if you're a parent, especially if you have debt, actually the way it was taught to me many years ago, if you love someone or owe someone or something, some entity, you should probably think about having some life insurance. So if you have a mortgage, if you have credit card debt, if you have car debt, whatever it is, you should probably have some life insurance because that debt doesn't end when you die. Okay. It's still going to be attached to the house. It's still going to be attached to that car. Someone has to satisfy that debt, especially if they want the asset. And again, of course, for our parents out there, especially in the two-parent households, it's important to have those conversations because I can't tell you how many of the conversations I've been in where a parent has passed away and there wasn't enough life insurance to support the family. Okay. And I'm going to talk to my men. Men, come closer. Meet me at the camera. Okay. Fellas, if you are the breadwinner for your household, get more insurance on your spouse than you have on yourself. Doesn't matter how much money your spouse makes. Because the reason you're the breadwinner, and this goes for ladies too. I know I have some female breadwinners out there, but I'm going to be honest. My females, they tend to do a little bit better with understanding the value of their life and the value of their partner's life because they realize that the reason they're able to be that breadwinner is because the spouse is doing the chief home operator. And that chief home operator role is valuable. I couldn't do what I'm doing for all of you and for my clients if it weren't for Alicia. Okay. I pick up my daughter from school once or twice a week. All the other times, it's Alicia doing it. When the school calls and says that she has a fever, my phone doesn't ring. I'm probably not even the third number. I'm probably like the fourth number. It's probably her mama and then her grandfather, and I'm probably the third number. And then it's probably me because I'm the one that's traveling. I'm not there. I'm out winning bread. So if something happened to Alicia, I wouldn't be able to do all of those things. So I view her life as just as valuable, if not more valuable than mine. So I encourage you, do an assessment, see where you stand on life insurance. If you need some help, feel free to reach out to us. We're happy to help you with that. But take a little assessment, see what you have from work or what do you have in other policies, and see if it makes sense for you to get a little bit additional life insurance. So with that, on a lighter note, actually life is a lighter note. It's the other stuff that's not that light. But anyways, on a lighter note, Colette, how are you? Or shall we say Coco?
I'm doing really well. Thank you for having me today.
Indeed. We appreciate you. So I have to ask, just because you're in the land of Los Angeles, which I escaped from LA a few years back. I heard that you guys had like a tsunami or something a few weeks ago. Is everybody okay?
Is that real news? A
That's what we were
tsunami?
hearing here. Okay. You had some big waves. By the
We had
time
some
it
big
got over
waves.
here to us, it was like, oh, there was a tsunami. Well, because it was around the same time there was an earthquake in Japan. So I was like, oh
Yeah.
gosh, tsunami.
I think it's definitely been the rainiest it's ever been. And I moved here 15 years ago. So it's definitely different. The stormy weather and winter patterns have changed a bit, probably since you've left too. And I don't love it, to be quite
Mm.
honest. But hey, some positives, if we're going to always look at the bright side, we're out of the drought. We're out of that decade long drought. We
Oh
are
my goodness, you
officially
are
out of
officially out of.
a drought as a whole state. And I think that's a big accomplishment for us.
Okay, so now people are taking longer showers. They're actually watering their
Yeah,
yard.
we
That's
have
good.
no restrictions, Johans. No restrictions. We can go, we can't, but we could go nuts if we wanted to with the water.
There we go. So we
Now
can see some.
everybody has cement lawns, so it's
That's
kind
true.
of a moot point.
That is true. That is true. What do they call it? They call it zero scaping. Yeah, I remember. That's where I learned that word in California. What's zero scaping? Like, oh, when we get rid of all the landscaping, there's
And
zero
it's just like
scaping.
pebbles and
Yeah,
like
I was like,
stonework versus
it just
actual
reminded me. I was like,
greenery.
oh, yeah, this really is the desert. Oh yeah, okay. I forgot. I had forgotten. So
You can't
the
leave and
first.
be a hater, okay? You can't
I'm not.
leave
I'm not.
and
Hey,
then
hey.
forget all the amazing things.
Listen, I love the state taxes that I don't pay. What I used to call the sunshine tax. Well, I didn't call it that. Someone else did. I was like, oh, that's a good name for it. So I actually, the year I moved to Los Angeles, someone will have to fact check me on this, but I might be. I think I'm right about it. I think it was either the year or the year after. So it had to be '04 or '05. There was also an El Nino event, and it had
Mm.
rained more than it had ever rained before. And I remember, because I just moved, I hadn't been there more than a year. And I remember just saying all the time, like, this was not on the It Never Rains in Southern California brochure. I was like, what is it? There
Yeah.
were like mudslides. And I remember, because it was, I think around that same time, the Trump golf course. That was the first golf course I ever played on. It was Trump golf course. One of the holes like fell into the sea, into the ocean or something. And you had houses in Palos Verdes that were, that were going to fall off the cliff because of all the rain and the mudslides. And it was like, okay, this is not the Southern California I signed up for. But then that was it. It never rained again.
I think that may
So,
be what's going on now. I mean, I hope it
mm,
is because I don't want this to become a rainy state. I'm paying the high taxes for the weather.
there you go. There you go. Strictly for the weather. Strictly for the weather.
Strictly for the weather.
Strictly for the weather. So you are you're in leadership at Lionsgate, all right?
Yes,
Lionsgate.
Lionsgate
Okay. So
Studios.
tell us about your journey of getting into leadership in Lionsgate. I mean, or were you one of those people? I know most people, the LA stories, you had to sleep in your car and you were like working like 3 waitress jobs at the same time. Tell us your true Hollywood story.
Okay, my true Hollywood story. Well, I moved out here from the East Coast. This is a fun fact. I came out here for law school and I attended law school to be a lawyer first.
I didn't know
And
that.
I know. And I did about a year and a half of law school and I ultimately had to come to the, you know, I had to be honest with myself. I hated it. It wasn't for
Okay.
me. My personality did not fit. I
Yeah,
couldn't be
you don't seem
creative.
very
Exact.
lawyery. Yeah.
Everyone says that to me now. But I think what I had to learn is I'm interested in the law. I'm interested in learning about it. I find it fascinating. I don't want to practice it. And that's
Mm.
just something that college does not prepare you for. You aren't going to classes about legal matters or the law. That is a whole different school, right? That's law school. And so, unfortunately, I think people don't know till they get there that it's for them or not for them. And I just didn't want to do 3 years of law school and ultimately feel like I hated what I my career. If I knew
Mm.
a year and a half in I wasn't happy, I had to make that hard decision and risk it all and leave and find an avenue that made sense for me and my personality. And then at the end of the day, I mean, I've asked every lawyer or judge I know, and they don't like what they do. And so I made the decision. I left law school. I can always return anytime I want. I left on good standing. So if I wanted to become a lawyer at 60, I could. But after that, I pursued a master's in mass media and I wanted to go into the entertainment industry. And I realized marketing would be one of those fields where I could um, be creative, be amongst people, learn from others, always work on something new, not really get bored, not really sit in a stagnant rotation, and not practice the same thing every day. And so I had to start anew and I had to apply for grad school and, rebuild essentially. So my Hollywood story was rebuilt. I went to Pepperdine. I got my master's, and then I kind of just started interning at Universal Studios and taking any kind of internships I could. Um, and then hopped around till I found a right fit. And I think currently today, I am at Lionsgate, and I am uh, blessed to be a vice president there of our worldwide promotions, partnerships, and sponsorships for a theatrical marketing. And yeah, I guess that's my Hollywood story in a bite. And then us, branching out. I was able to find other avenues for me to continue to monetize and expand and build, layers to this life.
So with Lionsgate, with your the work that you do there, you said in advertising and marketing and promotions. So does that mean you're the person that's like putting all the commercials and billboards for all the movies? Is that what that means? Is that your
Not
department?
me alone, but
Well, not you.
I
Yeah,
am the person that
one of the
is
people.
brokering our deals. So if you ever watch a Lexus commercial and it's co-branded with like a Marvel spot, and you're seeing like those co-branded medias, or if you're seeing PSAs, or if you're seeing premier sponsorships and they're co-branded, like we just did something with the Hunger Games and Spotify because we had obviously an original song that was up from Olivia Rodrigo. We did something with Spotify. They were a big premier sponsor for us. They were a big playlist sponsor for us, podcast sponsor for us. So my job is to find partnerships that make sense authentically to our IP and then leverage their media spends so that um we are co-branding where these brands are spending their media money already, and we're
Mm.
co-branding it with our IP in a smart and impactful way without it looking cheesy and tacky.
That is one thing I know you're not going to stand for. What would you say? What would you say has been your most unique partnership?
um My most unique partnership. Well, I think it was probably we did John Wick this past year. We released John Wick 4 and we partnered with the Hard Rock Hotel. And it was unique in that it had so many layers. It was not centered necessarily around our talent. It was centered around dogs and a different way. And that movie all started with a puppy.
It all started
And
with a puppy.
it all started with a puppy. And that campaign, everyone always wants to work with Keanu, right? But Hard Rock had just launched a program at their hotels for doggy stays. And anyone that has their dog they can stay in their room with them.
I see it.
And
I
they
see it
have
now. Okay. I
yeah,
see.
they have dog daycares and things like that, and so
Mm.
we ran a campaign that it all started with a puppy, and we did puppy screenings, and we did all these fun activations with the Hard Rock Hotel, and then, obviously it expanded into movie premiere sponsorship where we turned the Hard Rock hotels in LA and New York into, if you've ever seen John Wick, the Continental Hotel,
Continental.
and it
Yes.
was rebuilt into the Continental experience, and it was a 2-week, experience where fans could attend for free and get coins and go through it and be served specialty cocktails and,
So
get some cool memorabilia.
Albert came to that event, right?
Yeah, he
Did you
did.
did you meet Albert's guests that he brought with him? Kind of look like me, about 20 years younger.
I didn't. I
My
didn't.
my son came without my Seth was there.
I didn't know that.
Yep.
I
Yep.
no, but
Seth was there.
he must have attended the New York one.
No, Seth is in LA. He's in LA.
Interesting.
Yeah, he was there.
I did not see him because
Yeah.
I was there.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
But yes, I did see Albert attended, but I didn't
Right.
see him at the actual event. There was 2,000 people there, so
Yeah,
it was
it's fine.
crazy.
Yeah.
But it was a cool activation, and I think
I
it had a
saw
lot of
I saw all the
legs.
photos.
And
He made me miss LA. I was like, so one thing I miss about LA is knowing people in the industry and getting to come to these cool events. I'm like, okay, I missed that part. I
so
do.
Seth
I do that part.
is you, but 20 years younger.
Me, but 20 years younger. I think, how old am I? 21 years younger. 21 years younger.
That's
Yeah.
a cool event for Seth to attend.
Yeah. No, he had a lot of fun. And this was, I don't know, 3 days after he moved back to LA. So that was him. He
That's
was
a
like,
cool
yeah,
event to attend.
yeah,
Yeah. No,
yeah.
that was a unique partnership because usually when we do partnerships, they're talent forward, and this one wasn't. It was puppy forward and just had a different element, but honestly, it ended up speaking to a whole new audience than the typical demographic that we would need for that we would already speak to, which is the whole goal, right? We're trying to expand
Yes.
our audiences and get new people to come and check out a movie that is considered very male forward, action forward. This opened it up into, women being attracted to it and puppy lovers and, younger demos, and people gave the franchise a chance. And, this was the highest viewed John Wick of the whole franchise, which typically, with franchises as they go on, they typically don't do as well. This one
We just
is
wanted to see the
defying all the
finale.
odds.
Oh,
Yeah,
oh
well,
no, it was, yeah,
is
no,
it a
I saw it
finale? Is
twice.
it?
Is
But is it?
it? Is it?
I
I
don't
think we should be
know.
asking you, oh, wait, are you telling us? Is
I
it?
don't
Wait.
know. I don't have those answers for you right now.
Oh,
I
right now
don't
you
know.
don't. Let
Yeah,
me
I
hit the
don't have those
pause button
answers for
real
you.
quick.
I think it
Okay,
depends
we're
on the
back.
viewer, how you watch it, if you're watching it.
So the rule in Hollywood, according to a viewer, the rule is if you don't see them die on screen, they are not dead. Okay, that's it. And we didn't see
That's
him
from your
die.
lips. That's from
We
your
just
lips.
saw
I
him
didn't
kind
say
of
anything.
lay down on the steps,
It's
and
all
then we saw
speculation.
Tombstone. I've
Mhm.
seen many movies with
With 2
tombstones,
rings.
and people aren't dead.
Yeah.
Okay, so
Sometimes you're right, Johannes, and sometimes you're wrong, and
sometimes
that's all I'm gonna leave it.
that's true. That's true. But you know what?
Yeah,
60% of the time, I'm right all the time.
that's good.
Tell me So you mentioned that you started to diversify your income sources, and you are the proprietor of Coco's Curvy Closet.
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit about Coco's Closet. Where did the idea come from? What do you do?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Also very unorthodox, just like my start in LA. This was just a whim, and I was going through a bad breakup, and I needed a distraction that was not me spending a ton of money, like shopping or going out to eat or drinking with my gals. I needed a different kind of source for my energy and my mental, just, to get over a breakup. And so my friends and I went to dinner, and a bunch of girls just randomly throughout the night were asking me where my outfits were from. And so my friends were like, this is your thing. Everywhere you go, every girl that is curvy or plus size, they always want to know where you're getting your clothes from. This is your thing. And this was about 2016. So about 7 years ago this started, when like Instagram was still Instagram, and people were kind of just taking selfie pics and putting them up and tagging brands for the first time. So not what it is right now. But I just started taking, my friend and I, we came up with a name, Coco's Curvy Closet. We created a page, even with no plan beyond me sharing inspiration, outfit inspiration for girls that look like me, and where it's a hard place to find, it's still hard to find clothing, inclusive sized clothing at retailers, right? Like I can't go to the mall and go to every store and find clothes. I have to buy most of my clothes online. It's 2023. But anyway, in 2016, this was a big hot topic too. And so I
Yeah, because
started
really it was
Coco's Curvy
just Lane
Closet.
Bryant back then, right? It was just Lane Bryant was
Yeah.
the only,
And
that was
I
it.
don't wanna wear that as a
Oh my
girl
god,
who's
this stuff.
young and wants
Yeah.
to look cute and sexy. I'm not gonna go wear Lane Bryant. I mean, nothing against them. They have options at least for people, but, it's come a long way since
Well, and Lane
before.
Bryant's very conservative. The colors are very
And it's for,
muted.
like, your
Yeah.
mom and your grandma. It's not, like,
Yeah.
for someone in her 20s or early 30s, or you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so I started the page. I had 0 followers. My friends were following me because they believed in me, and I followed them back. And I just told myself I'm gonna take a picture every day, no matter what. It's not a professional picture, a selfie in the mirror. If I'm going out to dinner with friends, just with a phone. I didn't have anything fancy. And I'm going to just tag whatever I'm wearing. And whoever, if no one follows me, no one follows me. At least this provides me the distraction, the healthy distraction I need from the breakup. And at the same time, it feels like something where if people are looking, they can benefit from it. It had
Mm.
I had no monetization at that point. It just started as like an idea and like a distraction. Lo and behold, it started to get attention from brands, and people were reposting me, brands were reposting me, girls that look like me were really reposting and saying like, it's nice to see real bodies, it's nice to see women that don't look like perfect models. People want relatability, I think, at the end of the day. And I think people want to see people that look like them in media and in fashion and in every aspect, sports, whatever. People can't always relate to that perfectly sculpted individual, and that's just not realistic. Like not every person is made the same, and that's the beauty in us. We're all different, and I don't think that there should be um, you know, one beauty standard, so to speak. And so the page really just, within 3 weeks, there was 38,000 followers, and I didn't know what to do with that because that
That's
was
a
not
true
the
Hollywood
initial
story. Wow.
intention. I'm telling you, it was not the initial intention. But then from there, I realized, okay, I started to I started to come up with a plan on how I was
Mm.
going to do brand outreach and how I was going to monetize this. Was I going to make this, a business so that I could really work the tax system, as you know, and how I could really benefit from this actually being a business, that it was not was not in the scope of work, but I'm very blessed it went down that pathway. And since then, it's 7 years later, and there are almost 270,000 followers now. And that's just on Instagram, not my TikTok, and not, all of my other platforms where things are have really, really grown into a place where if I wanted to just really hone in on that and not have Lionsgate, I could, right? I think for me, I haven't really decided on that path, but um
Oh, you got time. You're
yeah.
young. Have fun with both.
Yeah.
So by the way, I mean, has Rihanna like reached out to you and said, "Hey, thanks. I decided to start a company and also focus on more plus size." Because
She has
I had to
not
look it
reached
up because
out
she
to me.
didn't start her company inception is May 11th, 2018. So you were
Yeah.
ahead of her. You were also ahead of, remember, Victoria's Secret almost
And
lost
now
their what.
they had to come back and figure it out and
Yeah, they had to
include
come back
big
to that.
girls in the
Like, oh,
conversation.
wait, we can have people that all aren't 80 pounds. Nothing against people at 80 pounds,
It
but
just
you know what
never
I'm saying.
made
They just,
sense. Yeah. The
yeah,
fashion industry, do you
wow.
guys not like money? Because there's more
Uh,
women that are
Especially in America.
14 plus.
Especially in America. Yes.
Yeah, that
Yeah.
then there are under. So, like,
Especially where I'm
if at
from
the
in the
end of the
South.
day,
Yes.
yeah,
Like,
if you like money,
mhm. I mean,
I don't
maybe they
know.
don't like money. Maybe they don't
It's
like money.
all it's all about perpetuating the same beauty standard, which I
Yeah.
understand, but at the end of the day, I think there's room for everybody to be adored, and I think
Mm.
there's a room for everybody to really be showcased. And because we don't all look like the same original beauty standard, and I'll leave it at
Hey,
that.
I actually go through it too. I am a 6'5" black man.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I think y'all, well, listeners, just in case you didn't know, I am a black
I
man.
could not tell you
Um,
were 5'5".
I'm
That's
six foot
interesting.
five. I'm six foot
Yeah.
five, and I have what my wife refers to as the basketball booty, which means the typical jeans that are manufactured out there, or not even jeans, sweatshirts, shorts, what have you. My waist is a 34, but my hips are like 37, 38. And most jeans are okay. So I would have to go and get 38, 36 jeans and then have all this extra space because there wasn't enough in the seat area.
Mhm.
Well, fortunately, because of basketball players, football players, etc., there's a lot more brands now that recognize that some men also have booties, and they
Yeah,
have to make the pants that go around. And I have to spend top dollar sometimes to make
I
sure I'm
know it.
getting things that actually fit. But it took brands so long. I mean, 10 years ago, I couldn't do that. I was always having to upsize and just not being comfortable or happy wearing it because it just didn't fit right. But
And
now
now
a
you're
lot of brands,
included. Doesn't it feel
now I'm
nice to be
oh my,
included?
yes, it
Yeah.
does.
Well, we're still fighting for inclusion at actual physical malls, but we're getting there. I think there are better plus size options now, but I mean,
Yeah,
it's nice to feel included. People wanna
it
feel
is.
included.
It is nice to include. You're absolutely correct. I agree. I agree. So you said you started, you said how many days you said you got to 38,000 followers?
I was it was quick. It was in a
Okay.
matter of weeks, like
What matter of
3 to
week? I think you
4
said 3 weeks. I
weeks.
think you said 3 weeks. That is
I was
okay.
reposted by I think I had went to this, swim event, and Sports Illustrated had reposted me, and
Oh,
I had went to another event, and Fashion Nova had reposted me, and I went to another event, and Ashley Graham reposted me, and, like, I think, they obviously have these tons of followers, and there's a compound effect of people that follow them that are like, "Okay, I relate to her. She's got my type of legs, or she's my height, or I like, her personality," or whatever it is. But it was a blessing, and, I wasn't anything that I forecasted or expected. But it really worked out in the long run. So I guess a takeaway would be, if there's something that you've been noodling, just try it. Just do it,
yeah.
and what's
No,
the
I
worst
agree.
that can happen?
I agree. I agree. So I selfishly am going to ask this question because I wouldn't mind a few thousand listeners.
Hmm.
Um, so which brand should we be tagging in this episode?
Which
What are you
brand?
wearing? What are you wearing today?
What am I wearing? Oh, I'm wearing Amazon fashion today, which is also a really good way for people to if you're looking for an avenue to monetize in your home. Amazon has a program where you can literally live
Oh
stream from your
yeah,
room and
yeah.
tag all the stuff in your stream, and you can make so much money doing this.
Wait a minute. This came from
Mhm.
Amazon, the microphone? The microphone
See?
arm came from Amazon. This
Everything's from
screen came from
Amazon these
Amazon. This
days.
lights came from Amazon. That camera came from Amazon.
Think
That
about it.
camera didn't. Um, these
But you could
pens came from
really just
Amazon.
create a
Oh my
whole live stream that just is like everything
oh,
you
there's
need to be
so much
podcast, everything you need to create your podcast. And that could be your live stream, and you could show them everything you use in a typical podcast day.
done. I'm doing that. Thank you. Look
And
at
the nice
that.
thing is it's open to everybody. It's really not this like exclusive only for influencers. They have an influencer program, but they also have a live stream
I will
side of the
have to
business, and it's
hmm,
kind of like you're your personal HGTV or like personal
love it.
QVC or whatever, you know? People are on there teaching the world how to cook, build, clean.
Podcast. I'm doing
Yeah,
it. Done.
yeah.
I'm doing it. Thank you so much. All right. So let's transition a bit as we wrap up here. All of our guests that come onto the show, we do ask them to share with all of our listeners their first memory of money. The reason we ask this question is because we think it's important for people to get in touch with their first introductions to money. Sometimes they're not always the best, and sometimes we carry that with us and becomes part of our money script. And sometimes we just need to throw the script out and write a new one. But if we can get in touch with why we may behave and react the way that we do when it comes to money, we can start to find the tools that we need to break some of those walls down and rebuild a better pathway to have a better relationship with money. So, with that, what is your first memory of money?
Okay, I don't know if this is right. I don't know if, but I was really young, like I want to say 5 or 6, and my grandfather was living with us. He was here from Lebanon and living with us and helping, as we were growing up. And he would take my brother and I on walks um, after school. And if we were good, he would take us on walks to this like corner store that had like candy and like treats and things like that. And he would, at the beginning of the week, he would give us a certain amount of money. And I think it was like back then, I think it wasn't a ton. I think it was like $5 or $6. He would give me and my brother and I $5 or $6 at the beginning of the week, and we would go on these walks, and he would, let us manage our money for the week and not and you know, we would go, and if we wanted to buy something, if we were good that day, then we could. And my brother, he was the type that would spend all his money on the first day on all the treats. And I was the one that would buy one treat every day for the whole week because then I'd have enough money for the whole week. And I feel like I don't know if it's just a personality thing or what, but it's kind of the same way I am now. I'm really good about not being super impulsive with my money, and I'm definitely I'm not the biggest risk taker, but I'm also not risk averse. So I'm
Mm.
somewhere in the middle. I really lead with like logic, and I like to make sure that I have a nice balance for all the activities I like to do because I like to tell people I'm high maintenance, but I'm highly maintained. And
Oh,
so I know, and I maintain myself. So I mean, I have to have the
writing
money
that
for
one
that.
down.
I have to have the money
I
for that. So that's my first memory of money. I don't know if that's necessarily the answer you're looking for,
That's no,
but
it's your answer. That's your answer. And what you'll find is because we've had this conversation, a week from now, something else is going to pop in your head. And you're like, oh, I
yeah.
remember that. Okay.
Yeah.
But that's why we want people to start to have these conversations, because we, as we interact in throughout the world, we interact with other people. And who knows, especially if you interact with young people, you may be contributing to
Hmm.
their memories of how money works.
It's true.
Okay. Okay, if you have nieces, nephews, etc. I mean, I'm one of those uncles. Oh, going to see nieces and nephews. Let me take a pocket full of money so I can just hand out some money. I may be contributing to their money story. They may tell a story. Yeah, I
Yeah.
remember I'd see Uncle Yo and he'd give me $20. I think I've ruined my daughter's money story because one night she lost a tooth, and Alicia and we'd been out and we were having some fun. And so I had a couple. I did.
Yeah.
But it was my job to go and put some money under the pillow.
Hmm.
And my wife and I talked about it, and we decided we'd give her $10. Okay. Which some people still say is a lot of money for a tooth. But I was like, I mean, it's $10.
With
I'm
inflation. Yeah. With
Yeah,
inflation.
inflation. Like, yeah, with
Yeah.
inflation, I think it's appropriate. Well, there were 20s in my wallet and a 10.
Oh,
And I remember looking like, let me make sure I do the 10. Now, it was dark, but I thought I put the $10 bill under a pillow. And she woke up the next morning. I got $20 for my tooth.
that's
And Alicia looked at me and
amazing.
was like, you did what? I was like, I promise I gave 10. And I looked at my wallet and I saw the $10 bill right there on top. I was like,
That's amazing. She came
so
up.
so
She came up.
now, so she's only lost 2 teeth. And now the 2 front teeth are both loose. And
Uh-oh.
Alicia's looking at me like, figure it out.
Yeah.
Because you can't go backwards. I'm like, well, if they both come out at the same time, we could just give her 20. Because they're
A
out at the same
twofer.
time. Maybe she won't figure that out. She was like, you better give
20
her
a tooth
$40.
is steep. You're gonna be
Yeah.
in for it. Yeah, that's
She'll be trying
steep.
to wiggle everything in her mouth. Like, man. So anywho, um, thank you so much for joining us on the
Thank
podcast. For
you.
all of our listeners out there, a few takeaways. As I mentioned at the top of the show, do a life insurance assessment. As I mentioned last week, do a disability insurance assessment. If it's something you feel like you need some help, reach out, get some help. There's lots of great people, individuals, professionals like myself, like Alicia. We can help you with some of those, but it's not just us. You don't have to stop here. There's many places you could go, but find out what your options are and see what makes sense, especially if you have a family. And like I said, if you love someone or you owe someone, you might want to have some life insurance just in case. And for those of you that are trying to make your way, create your own Hollywood story, you heard a good story here from Colette. Sometimes you just got to pivot. She was going one direction. She decided, you know what? I'm going to go a different way with this. And look where she is today. Yes, she had to do the interning. She didn't mention whether she was just making coffees or getting copies, but that's kind of what interning is for those who don't know. You're doing whatever the boss says to do, coffee and copies. Yep. But now she's vice president at Lionsgate, making wonderful partnerships. Oh man, that was a very unique partnership with John Wick. And thank you for telling me the whole story. Because now it makes more sense. Because Seth was trying to tell me, and I didn't get it. He was like, so there's this other movie, really quick. I know you guys are trying to get out here, but really quick. There's another movie, one of my favorite movies ever. It's called Double Take. It is with Eddie Griffin and his name just escaped me. It'll come to me later. Anyways, it's with 2 black guys. Eddie Griffin has a line in the movie. Orlando Jones is his name. Orlando Jones, Eddie Griffin. Eddie Griffin has a line in the movie, and he says, you see, it's the dog. The dog is at the center of this whole entire investigation. And that was my son and I's joke for John Wick.
Yeah.
From the first one all the way to the 4th, every time we you see, and the dog is the center of this whole investigation. So the fact that you picked up on that and did a great partnership, I think that's awesome. And the fact that you took what was some grief and some sorrow and some pain and poured that energy into lifting other people up. And guess what? You made a business out of it is amazing. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is the true American story. So with that, I want to thank you. Tell a friend to tell a friend to tell a friend to get their dose of financial literacy. Like us on wherever you're listening. Click the button, subscribe, leave a comment. By the way, when you give stars, leave comments, all that stuff, all it does is help other people be able to recognize the show. That's it. That's what it does. Okay. So you're not doing it for me. You're not doing it for you. You're doing it for the other person that needs to get their dose of financial literacy. So we will see you next time. Everybody take care.
Thank you.
I'm back. Wasn't that a great show? I hope you learned something. I know I did. Now, before you go trying anything you heard today, remember, it is not intended to be specific tax or legal advice. If you need that, go see a CPA or an attorney. If you would like any complimentary consultation with a knowledgeable advisor, visit moneyscript.com and schedule a 15-minute consultation. Want Johans to come speak at your next event? Go to the MoneyScript website for that too. Of course, if you're watching on YouTube, make sure to like, comment, subscribe, and click the bell for notifications. MoneyScript Wealth Management is a registered financial advisory service in multiple states. Want to learn more? Get the full disclosure on our website, moneyscript.com.